Sure.
Well, what a morning. Have you been busy, Remy?
I have, yes, which is nice. It was a little bit of a low point, but now that movie's coming out, there's been a lot going on, which is fun.
Well, congratulations on the new film.
Thank you.
How did it find you? How did you find it?
Yeah, I guess we kind of both found each other. I met Josh, the writer. We met at our boxing gym out here about in 2018, and I was just about to go to film school, but I'd finished an internship at Blumhouse,
Hmm.
and he was writing this script, and we had stayed in touch. And about beginning of 2021, he had just asked me if I would be interested in doing some touch ups and some notes and some just creative criticism on it because he wanted it to be more in the vein of Blumhouse.
Yeah.
And I said sure, and that lasted for about 7 months. And they had a director attached, and they were going into production. And I was like, at the end of this, if I can get a PA job or a grip job or something in the field of production, that would be great. December came along, and their director dropped out, and he basically was like, "You've been on this thing for longer than anybody. You have an interest in putting in a pitch deck?" And I was like, "Absolutely." So that January, I got the job, and then everything started immediately.
Do you enjoy the horror genre?
It's funny. I am a scaredy cat when it comes to certain horror movies. I love them, but I also I know all movies are fake, but they still scare me, and I've gotten into them more recently. I do like them though. I like a lot of the older. I watched like the original Chainsaw Massacre and a lot of those old school horrors. The John Carpenter kind of era,
Yeah.
and then even today, like I love all the Conjuring movies. Like I think James Wan is
Mhm.
phenomenal at all of that. My dad worked with a guy, John Schwab, and he just did Candyland. I don't know if
Yeah.
you've seen it yet, but that was like a cool modern take on like an older style of horror. So I'm getting into it. I'm getting into it.
Well, of course, working with the Blumhouse people is no,
Yeah,
well, Jason is an amazing, a genius when it comes to
genius.
all of this. Yeah.
Yeah, they really are. And what was cool about that, I spent the summer there between while I was in school, and I just read scripts all day. I mean, I probably read about 80 scripts that were sent to them, and it was really interesting to read a script for Blumhouse, knowing their kind of how they like to make a film, what their requirements are. And there were a lot of great scripts, but for Blumhouse, it's minimal location, minimal cast, no CGI, low budget. So this script, reading it fit that. It would have checked off all the boxes. So knowing that it helped me in the creative process.
And casting your father, in this, I mean, I've known your dad for a long time. We're
Oh,
paisans,
yeah,
and
yeah.
he, I mean, he could do comedy, he can do drama, he does this. He's just a fantastic actor, and God, what a great performance you got out of him.
It was so much fun. He volunteered for it really. He was like, how can I not be a part of this? He wanted to, right from the start. He was like, I want to do it if there's a cool role. Luckily, we got this great role of the cult leader,
Yeah.
which is dark, but also, it's the father, and it was perfect for him. But it was interesting because him and I have never obviously worked together in that relationship of director and actor, and it was a lot of fun. We had a great time, and he was very hands off until he needed to be, which was great for me because I got to learn and I got to fail, and then if I needed help, he was always he was a fallback for me.
Wow,
But
what a wonderful
it was a
support.
great experience. Yeah, and it was great support system.
Um, and the perform. I mean, your dad could, kill a guy with a twinkle in his eye, and I just
Yeah,
don't know how he does that.
it was so like there's one scene in the movie towards the end with him and Catherine they have in the kitchen, and it's a pretty like high emotion scene, but it's a slow build, and he yells at her at one point, and you're like, holy, like I was almost like, holy shit, like I wasn't like I knew it was gonna happen, but I wasn't expecting it because he knows how to work it and work the emotion of it, and it's the father daughter, which I mean, I have no sisters, but he's got kids and he knows to work that. And then I've got you. Boom! I'm going to yell at you and remind you that I am the leader of all of this. And
And
it was great.
Jamie King is,
Hmm.
I've known her since Pearl Harbor. I mean,
Oh,
she
okay.
is just a dynamo.
She is. She is. And she was super. She basically was like, I would love to be a part of this too, because they were doing a movie together called Lights Out,
Yeah.
which was shooting in Palm Springs around the time that I was location scouting. So I had stopped in to say hi, and I basically, gave her the rundown of the script, and she was like, "Oh, I love it." She loves that. It was such a fun character too. The mom, the cult mom, and she went balls to the wall with it and had a great time. And what's so interesting about her is she cannot say anything, and you feel all of the emotion that she conveys.
Yeah,
Like there's one shot of her where she's just walking, and you're like, there's something really terrifying about that.
it's all in her eyes and her body movement.
Yeah, yeah, she's got those eyes that she can just really control everything. And it was a lot of fun.
What do you think audiences are going to take away from watching the resurrection of Charles Manson?
I think people are going to be a little bit shocked when they finish the movie and Charles Manson wasn't in it once. Everyone keeps asking me who's going to play Charles Manson. Is my dad doing Charles Manson? And he's not. He's not in the movie. But he is the root of this that drives the story. And which is what really drove my attention to it, because there's this cool idea of like what happens if this family was still around and they would still be trying to please their leader. And at the heart of it, it is like a family kind of drama. But I hope they enjoy the what if aspect of it. The what if this was still going on, and there's a lot of parallels, that are going on today, but a lot of creepiness too. And it's fun. It's kooky. Like it's a kooky. It became a kooky cult thriller, which I love. And
Yeah,
we tried to really
it has
work in that kind of '70s era.
it has a great sense of humor about it too. I mean,
It does.
you've done pretty well with infusing it with a few moments of sheer terror and then some laughter as well.
Yeah, thank you. Because that was the goal. It's like, I love doing what I love about comedy is like those natural moments. And you actually find in like horror, there are a lot of great moments of comedy. Not that doesn't then ruin the movie, but it's just like a funny like, oh, that happened. And this movie had a couple of those moments where you're like, huh, we didn't realize that it was going to go that route, but it did, and it works. Doesn't take away from what we're doing. It just adds a nice little, change.
Yeah, it relieves a little of the pressure of the film so
Yeah,
that people can take a breath and just like a roller coaster.
exactly. Right. You're not suffocating them with this kind of this intense topic. This is an idea.
Are you going to be directing another film pretty soon?
I don't have anything lined up yet. I've kind of been put on hold until obviously this comes out and more people see it. But I would love to do another horror movie. I learned so much from this. I succeeded in a lot of it and I failed in a lot of it, and I learned so much through every process, through every step of the way. And I would love to now do one more horror to do it right. Like to do everything that I learned, go back, give it a full pass, and then go from there. This was such a great learning experience for me. It was almost like my master's program. Like I got every stuff went wrong almost every day, and it was how we figure it out.
Well, that's the movie business.
Yeah.
You can't get away with stuff not going wrong every day.
No,
If nothing goes wrong every day, you're
it's an
not doing
issue.
it right.
Yeah. I mean, we had a grip quit on us middle of the day, and he took the key to the locked equipment truck and
Oh
left.
no.
Yeah. We got shut down for COVID. We had, things were going wrong almost every day, but it was fun.
Yeah, but out of all of that, you've got yourself a wonderful motion picture, to
I
see.
do, yeah. And what's been great about this whole process of doing press and getting to talk to everybody is I see the movie in my head of like, what we changed, what went wrong. I don't get to I've seen it now probably 150 times, and I don't get to enjoy it as like a first time watch anymore. So it's great to talk to everyone about it, and especially you guys who like love the horror genre and be like, no, it's cool, it's kooky, it's exactly what it is. So I'm
Yeah,
excited for it to come out.
we weren't there to see the flaws, so we see it as,
Exactly.
yeah, and I understand what you're saying is, every scene triggers, oh, that's the day that,
Yeah.
this
Like
happened.
I know the scene. I can watch the movie and I can point to the scene that I got told we were getting shut down for COVID. I know exactly what it is. I'm not going to tell anybody, but I know exactly the moment when they came up to me, was like, hey, just so you know, once you wrap this scene, we're shutting down for 7 days. I'm like, okay, cool.
Sometimes surviving is enough, and
Yeah.
you did very well. It's a
Thank you
pleasure,
very
Remy, to
much.
talk to you, and tell your dad, Tony in Salt Lake says hi.
I will. I will. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, take care.